Didn't know it was only a few words. So I get asked to do these things from time to time, and people always tell me that they couldn't do it. And I'm not sure that I can do it most of the time either. But I think when you live in a family like ours, when you're raised by a family like ours, there's many, many tasks that have to be done. And some of us have the times, the tools, some of us have other talents and treasures, but we come together, and no matter what, there's always somebody in the crowd that knows how to do it. So there are many times when I've fallen down and I've been held up and somebody else did it. And that's what you get when you have a large, diverse, loving, hopeful, optimistic family. And I'm using notes today because sometimes I just lose it and I forget too many important things. But, you know, when the death occurs, we often think about, you know, what is the afterlife and what's heaven and what's hell and what's God, and we're trying to figure that all out all of the time. And when you're not really raised religious, you don't know how to be comforted sometimes with that. And the first significant kind of death that hit me that I remember was Marilyn. And I remember sitting at the kitchen table with Dad and talking about the afterlife. And he talked to me about it happens in the memories. It happens in the times when you recall him, that's part of the afterlife. And whatever you believe, we get to believe what we believe. We get to say what we want to say. We get to do what we want to do. And, you know, to me, that's always comforted me. My daughter died. I think about her all the time. She's here with me today. And that's the afterlife to me. I get to invoke him. I get to invoke her. And I get to be with them again and guided and learned. I almost texted him yesterday because I was working at the farm and I had a little problem and I was going to show him what it was. And it hits you in the gut. Marnie, she's going to make me cry. I remember at Marilyn's funeral, it's the kids that make you cry. You walk in, you think you're okay, and you see a little one not quite understanding what's happening. Got a little rustler right there. So that afterlife is going to ring for me forever, or for, I don't know, maybe Rain will think about me, and maybe Rain will have a son that'll think about me. But it's our memories, it's our love, it's all of that. So what I want to talk about today is obviously Monty, but we can't talk about a Monty until we talk about a Norris. This is the part where I need some group participation, because you get into problems when you're up here speaking and you think, I'm going to list off a bunch of names. And I want to make sure that you know the synonyms for these names. So I've got a crowd participation part. And, you know, I was going to start this part with, it's okay to cry, it's okay to laugh. This room was filled with laughter about 20 minutes ago. Joe laughed, and it sounded the most beautiful sound to hear you laugh today. Because Monty, full of hope, full of optimism, full of smiles, made probably all of us laugh at least once. I know some of us might have been laughing at him, some of us were laughing with them, and some of them are just laughing because you know what I mean. And what I'm asking for is that when I say Norris, I see Shannon Fowler here, but also a Norris. We made a Norris. The word Combs, the name Combs, I'm sorry, the name Brown, the name Ferreira. But here's the problem, right? I don't have a list. So I need you to help me think of our ancestors, the families we blended in, and I want you to shout. And you can look at Nicole to be the first one. I want you to shout. It's okay to be loud in this place. It's okay to be loud here. He doesn't want us to be sitting here crying. So give me some names that I'm forgetting that are part of this family, please. I'm going to start yelling them. Brown is a name. Delaney is a name. I'm going to screw this up.
Okay.
Moshe is a name.
Arnold.
Arnold is a name.
Carrie.
Carrie?
Carrie.
Carrie is a name.
Swanson.
Swanson. Come on.
Sietis.
Sietis.
Nicole.
Johnson. That's right. Cole. Jinx. Huh? Kaufman. Kozlowski. All Norris in some way. And a Norris by any other name would still smell as sweet. And Mark. You can't talk about the Norris without the family tree, right? And the family tree starts out from the way I see it, because I don't know all of the stories that I wish I did on this day now. But it starts out with Lucy and Monty and what would be my great-grandmother. And then you start to go down and you start to think about Jerry and Jack and Bob. I do have a list here. And Keith and Ernie and Doris and Betty and Barbara. And they start to, be on this kind of flat piece of paper, and it's the family tree. And when I think about a family tree and try to describe it like that, that's not a tree at all. A tree is three-dimensional. It's complicated. It's rounded. It's not just this hierarchy. It's actually upside down from the hierarchy. And like trees, families are like that. We're three-dimensional. We're complicated. It's not simple to be a family. And trees lose their seeds, their nuts, and come on, someone laugh. And they sprout up other trees, and their roots get entangled, and our families branch off. And we join these forests, these other trees, to create this forest. And the wind blows through it softly, and things are full of love and joy. And the flames rip through it and break the branches or feed a fire. And it's sad, and it's hurtful, and it's terrifying. But at the end of the day, when things like this happen to our family, it's part of the nature. It's part of the ecosystem. And it's something that we can find strength in. And as I kind of look at, my son said to me yesterday, I'm going to sit there and watch you be all vulnerable. And it just made me laugh, because I know he knows what I think about that. And we all want to be stronger in some way. But our strength never comes from our old strength. Our new strength comes from our vulnerabilities. It comes from these times when we're hurting and full of pain. And when we heal from this, when we recover from this, when we renew our friendships and we mend our fights with each other, or we deal with the problems that we're facing as a family, that is when our strength comes. And as I walk through this tree, and we've got Keith and Thelma, and I think about a World War II veteran hero, a woman that could, I don't know, heal us with a look. I mean, I wouldn't call her a witch, but she did some stuff that healed us. And, from cooking to fishing to building to gardening to being an inventor and an entrepreneur, being a mechanic, all those skills that are in this room that have been passed from us, that makes me think of how proud I am to be a Norris, to think about, I think my list is, oh no, I didn't do my list right. But when you think about, Linda and her photography, and Chuck with his dogs, and Marilyn with her happiness. I don't know what all of it is, but just how happy and loving Marilyn was to me. And obviously, I think I've got everyone except for Monty, right? And then of course Monty with his wrestling, and again his gardening, his entrepreneurial spirit. I mean, we talked all the time how impressed I was with him that he could find this thing laying on the side of the road, and maybe he had to buy it for $10, but he'd sell it for $200. And I was like, I don't even have the guts to do that, the audacity to do that. But he would do it all of the time. And these skills, they get passed to me and Tom and Marnie, and we remember some of them, we forget some of them, we create our own skills. And I think the thing, I'll probably forget how to wrestle someday. Did you think so? You didn't think so? I still had you? I'm talking about Flanders back there, sorry, we forgot Flanders. But the things I'll never forget, the things that are ingrained in me, are hope and optimism, and a smile when I wrestle, a smile when I cry, a smile when I'm angry. Sometimes it wears me out to smile. It's very difficult to be in front of a crowd right now and smile. But he smiled a lot. I read that under a comment. He smiled every day at work. Your comments are beautiful, by the way. And the most beautiful comment was the love of my life. And then I think about the next generation, and Raven and Rain and Daniela. And I think how I failed Daniela, but I didn't fail her. I think about how the families come together so many times to help each other. And I think about Courtney and Tommy and Breslin and how impressed I am with them. I think about Emma, and she's wrestling with a mat. You're out there being a champ. And I think about what we're raising. And yeah, we're raising sons and daughters, but aunts and uncles. We're raising mothers and fathers. We're raising grandmothers and grandfathers, great-grandmothers and great-grandfathers. That is what we are raising. And we raise them in different ways, and we raise them with different goals. And I want to tell you what my goal is for my family, for my kids. My goal is that my grandchildren, their kids, tell them what a great parent they were. Because they've got to raise kids, and those kids have to raise kids. And to me, I can look back with a lot of pride at Norris Grocery, you know, where Monty, I think it was his first job, maybe probably side hustling in kindergarten. You know, I think about that. I think about all of the things that we have done. And to be a Norris, I'm very, very, very proud of. And, you know, I showed up to a new school one day in 5th grade, and this kid said I was his cousin, and then I had a whole Mexican family with me. I love you guys so much for being here. And these families just blend and they become other things. And at the end of the day, we're in this forest together. And love and hope and optimism will always, always win. So, Monty, you were a great father. I'm closing out. There's a psychologist named Erickson, and he's got these stages of life. And as you go into your last stage, he calls it the stage of regret. And it's the time in your life where you're saying your should-haves and your wishes and all of that. And so many things. We all have screwed up so much in our lives. That's what life is. It's a series of screw-ups that we learn from. And, you know, some people, they want to get right with their God. And I think what I want to do is make sure I'm right with my ancestors. I want to make sure that I'm sure I pissed Grandma Thelma off at one point. And when I invoke her memory, I've got to remember, how did I piss her off? And I got to fix that and resolve that for her. And when I resolve that with her, and when I resolve my things, I pissed my dad off. I didn't change my oil enough. Shit, man. That was the end of the world. And Shannon's on me about that one too. So I think about, you know, getting right with ourselves, getting right with our ancestors. And so as they look at us, Mommy and Grandma, and I fix those, it's one more regret just going away. And so I would say to all of you, I love each and every one of you. Some of you I may not know that well, but you're here, you're entangled in our roots in some way. And I hope that we all find the way to move on with the love and the hope and the optimism. He wants that. And if we do that today, as we go through our mourning, which is our shock and our anger that we feel, our rationalization, but when we accept that, then he'll be standing there with us, and he'll be looking at you and saying, how can I help? Thank you.
Does anyone else want to have comments before we further? I mean, good luck trying to follow that.
Yeah.
If you're feeling brave and you want to say some words, I'd say come up right now if you could. Did I send you my notes before I got here? Because you said a lot of stuff I'm not going to say now. Next, we're going to have Tommy Norris come up and read your obituary.
My name is Tommy Norris. I'm Tom's son, Martin's grandson. Thank you, Jay. That was beautiful. I do have to follow that. So. Thankfully, it's all written down now. Monty L. Norris, a cherished husband, father, papa, brother and friend, passed away on March 8th, 2025, at the age of 78 on German Island, Michigan. Born on April 8th, 1946 in Lansing, Michigan, to R. Keith and Thelma Arnold Norris, Monty's zest for life and devotion to his family left an undeniable mark on all who knew him. Monty's journey through life was defined by his unwavering love and dedication to his family. He is survived by his beloved wife, Joanna Norris, and his children, Jerry and Shannon Norris, Tom and Vanessa Norris, Marty and Mike Swanson. He was the proud grandfather to Courtney Norris, Raven Norris, Rain Norris, Tommy Norris, Emma Swanson, and Breslin Norris. He was also blessed to know and love his 7 great-grandchildren. Monty is remembered by his sister Linda Norris and brother Chuck and Sue Norris, along with many nieces and nephews. He is preceded in death by his parents, sisters Carolyn Norris and Marilyn Summers, and his first grandchild, Daniela Pride. Monty's professional life was as rich and fulfilling as his personal one. He worked with dedication at his family store, Norris Grocery, where he relished the opportunity to deliver groceries and bring smiles to the faces of his customers. After his education, his career led him to the Michigan Department of Transportation, where he eventually retired as a manager in the real estate division. Wrestling was not just a sport to Monty, it was a passion that he shared with young athletes as a coach, which led him to become one of the founders of the Capital City Wrestling Club. His influence and mentorship shaped the lives of countless individuals, both on and off the mat. Monty's love for the outdoors was evident in his hobbies, which included gardening, fishing, and cooking. He had a particular fondness for wild animals, as he was often found observing the deer, fox, and bear that roamed near his home. Upon retirement, Monty settled on Drummond Island, a place that became a sanctuary for him. He spent his days fishing, cooking, and smoking fish, helping neighbors, riding around on his vintage golf cart, and creating countless memories with family and friends. Monty's paternal grandmother, Lucy Norris, was a significant influence in his life, instilling in him values of kindness, resilience, and love that he carried with him always. These qualities are the foundation in everything Monty did and are part of the legacy he leaves behind.